Hi, everyone, and welcome back to Damn Parenting, your English speaking parenting podcast from Amsterdam. And as always, we're your hosts, Maren, and
Eva.
this is another DAMChats episode. And usually we try to meet before and have a chat. What's the topic for this chat's going to be? Like, we have a full list built up about little things that you heard in the past. But this week, both Eva and I had very low energy and we had a lot on our plate because we also, on top of our expert episodes this week, we have the doula series coming out. So we just had a lot of stuff on our plate to plan, to schedule, get done with. So we were like meeting this morning, right, 5 minutes before the recording and thought, okay, what's the topic? What's the topic? And then I was just starting off a private conversation of how I had to find a new cleaner this week and how it was super stressful and how my experience went and all that. And then we went into this topic of outsourcing things in our lives. And we thought, let's just chat about this, like how we don't need to feel guilty about outsourcing certain things in our life or simplifying our lives. And we thought, oh, yeah, this really touches upon the whole topic of the good enough aspect that we covered with Dr. Naomi, I don't know, 2 weeks ago or something like that. And how it's not only reflecting on parenting, how we are good enough parents, but generally how we are good enough humans in every aspect of our lives and how we don't have to do it all. And of course, I'm gonna just put it out there. This is, of course, a privileged situation that I have the resources to outsource certain things, but also how I am choosing to prioritize my time and how I'm choosing to not do certain things that take away my energy that I, at this point, need to be a good parent, a good enough parent. And that kind of slipped into the whole topic of how we are struggling so many times to recreate the pre-baby life. Because Eva gave me a pretty good example. We were chatting like, oh yeah, I used to do this and do that. And we didn't have children back then. And we were able to do all this stuff. And now all this time and energy and the mental load of having a child and being a parent has come into our lives. But at the same time, we're still trying to recreate this pre-child life in every aspect, not just with our bodies, where it's like pre-baby body, let's get back to this, let's get back to that, but also pre-baby life, like let's go back to the life, but now there's just another human in it. And I said very strictly, we have to let this expectations on ourselves go because there is no such thing as pre-baby life anymore. It's done. Like now we do have children and now we do have all these changes. And let's shift the narrative to how can we now build this life differently and not feel guilty about it and not try to always look back and be like, oh, I have to get back to this. I have to get back to this because it's just not going to happen. You will never, as a parent, have the pre-parent life again. It's just not how it works.
Yeah, indeed. And it is that mind shift of accepting moving forward. Yeah, just kind of easing into it. Cause I mean, it is hard. And I mean, our little ones are like 3.5. And it's that thing that we're still like, oh, but I should be able to do this. I
Yeah.
should be able to manage this. I should be able to regulate my emotions. I should be able to. But the reality is, as parents, we're exhausted. We're managing, and one thing for me is like the food situation. Like every single day, okay, what am I going to feed them? Like I have to make sure it's nutritious. I have to make sure they're going to eat it. I have to make sure it's not going to end up on the floor or against the window or whatever. And it's like, you've got food, you got bedtime, you got brushing teeth. We have like, are they getting enough stimulation? Are they reading enough? Are they, there's so much happening. So that's added on to just pre-parenting brain. And in
And all
pre-parenting
these
brain, like, yeah, we already had enough.
Yeah. And all these little tasks that we just do on the side and we don't notice that we're doing them and they take so much energy away. Pretty simple example. Yesterday, I wanted to finish editing another chats that we had recorded, and I said, all right, I'm gonna sit down. I was just coming back from my paid work after dropping off and parenting solo this week. So I've already done a lot of things by 1 p.m. And I said, all right, I have to pick her up in 4 hours, what am I going to do? All right, I'm just going to work. And I said, I'm going to work for 30 minutes now, and then I'm going to take a break. So I put a timer on, and then halfway through, I remembered, oh God, I still have to fill in this form for the intake for the school for this talk in like 2 weeks. And then I went off and finished that. And it took me, I don't know, 10 minutes to really like read the form. It was all in Dutch. I had to translate. I had to like fill it all in and it send it out. And yeah, it was like a 10-15 minute thing to get it all done. And then I said, but I'm not going to add these 15 minutes now to my 30-minute work time because I have been working. So I will finish when the timer's up for the 30 minutes. Although I said in the beginning, oh, I'm going to edit for 30 minutes. But I said, no, I'm going to work for 30 minutes. And whatever that work is in these 30 minutes, that's going to be done. But I'm going to stop. And I'm not going to just add, oh, but I said I'm going to edit 30 minutes. No, I said I'm going to work for 30 minutes. And this is part of my job, filling in this form, and as part of my work time. And I really had to work on myself and my mindset in this, that all these little shit things that we have to do also take away energy, also take away time. And we have to notice them because I tended to look at my day then and only see these big things like, okay, take the bike to the repair shop, drop off the kids, do like these big noticeable things. But all this little shit in between that I was doing, like, oh, I'm going downstairs, so let me put the laundry in. And that's another 10 minutes. And that's another 2 minutes, 5 minutes, whatever. It just adds up to this hour of extra work that we do, but we don't notice, we don't recognize. And then at the end of the day, we were asking ourselves, why am I so tired? Why am I so exhausted? Why is my back hurting? Why is this doing? Because we don't value this working time and we don't see that we're doing this, and we think we shouldn't be the level that we are because we haven't done all this big stuff.
Yeah, everything adds up, bringing out the bin, doing the recycling, whatever it might be. Oh, yeah, I said I was going to make this, so now I have to go to the shop to buy it. Like everything does add up. And so the reason we were actually doing this episode was because, as Maren said, was because before we started recording, Maren was talking about her cleaner. And as many of you might actually see, that there is actually always a lot of things in our chats, in our WhatsApp groups about, I need to find a cleaner, or hey, my cleaner needs a bit more jobs, or whatever. It is out there. But one thing I did want to say is, I know like this podcast, we always say, welcome back to Damn Parenting, the English speaking international parenting podcast. This is targeting international families. And the thing is, for me, for example, like I am not an expat. I did not come over here with an expat position. I did not get a 30% ruling. I did not get any of that. I don't live in that lifestyle of like, I've got cleaners and laundrettes and like the dog walker and, a stream of babysitters and a chauffeur. And like, that's not my life. I'm here. Yes, I'm not from the Netherlands, but I'm an international, as it would be. And so I just live a life like I would have done back home. And I just get on with it. There's no extra luxuries. And so I don't have a cleaner, mainly because we live in a very small place. So I don't think we need it. But I was actually giving Maren an example where I was sick last year, pretty sick. And so I kind of needed just a little bit of help. And so I actually was like, I can keep trying to do it. But then I thought, you know what? I'm actually just going to go, and having someone just come in and do it is really going to alleviate just a little bit of pressure off me. And it was just going to be that once. Just that person comes in and just does a real basic cleanup for me, and just to help me maintain what we were going through, help me on our routine, because I was so sick that I really wasn't being able to move a lot. So that was what it was for, was just to really help me. Well, long story short, they actually canceled the appointment, so it never actually happened. But, now when I'm thinking about it, I think it's just a case of parenting is already like choosing our schools, how are we going to get into day school? Where are we living? Is our Bachfiets going to be called in and, we're not going to have a Bachfiets? Like that's happening to a lot of people, which is causing quite a lot of stress on how do we get our kids now to school? Just anything and everything, like grief. Is there something happening in your family back home? Or there's so much happening in this world. And it was just one of those things that I thought, what are the things that I can do? Because my time is more valuable now than putting that extra stress on me of spending that 30 minutes hoovering and mopping the floor. If, for example, another example is, and I'm so glad to actually see it, is a lot of people are sourcing out food, They're getting like things like Marlene Cooked, or they went to, I can't remember the name of the other company now off the top of my head, but they're getting children's food delivered because they're now trying to alleviate that extra stress to go, I'm so stressed coming back from work, two parents working full time. I'm so stressed. I don't know what to do. And now they're actually reaching out and saying, okay, I'm getting healthy, nutritious food, tick off list. It's a warm food, tick off list. My child's going to eat, tick off list. If that's what it needs for you just to alleviate one major pressure off your life, I do think it's worth the investment, even if it's just once, whatever it might be. But I do think it's definitely worth the investment of it. But I mean, look, I'm putting my hand up here. You can't see it, but I am. But, I'm not doing all these. I don't have the cleaner or, as I said, the dog walker, chauffeur or anything like that, or chef. But it is one of those things that I am very aware of it. And I'm now just trying to figure out what it is I can do to help myself. Because, I mean, look, there's so much being thrown at us, and it's a case of we need to also help ourselves. And it's, the good enough, parents, as Maren said, from episode 27 with Dr. Naomi. And it's also just a case of, we're going into springtime, and with springtime, people are going to get sick. There's greater expectations. Now there's more demands. There's more things to attend. People are wanting to go out. People are wanting to do more. And, so we need to take care of ourselves.
Yeah, and be easy. And just also what I have noticed is that if people think of outsourcing things, most of the time they think of the 100% outsourcing. So let's stick with the example of the cleaner. They say, okay, I can't afford a cleaner because they think, okay, the house cleaning is taking 3-4 hours, whatever. I can't afford it. I don't want to afford this. I don't want to have people in my house for that long. But you know what? Sometimes it also helps to hire someone for 1 hour to just get the kitchen and the bath cleaned. Try to think outside of the box when you really have your plate so full. You see all these things that need to get done, and start little. It's like, okay, what help? Or hire someone for 1 hour to fold all that fucking laundry. Like
fold
these
it. I
little
want them to iron it.
Yeah, of course. Well, that's you're already at the ironing. But yeah, like try to think 1 hour. I can afford 1 hour. What can this person do in this 1 hour? Or just clean the bathroom.
That's exactly,
or just like do these little things and try to break it down. Like, I don't need the full thing, or I can't afford it. I don't want to afford it. I'm not comfortable, but 1 hour would help me. And that's already enough.
That's exactly what I was doing last year. Was I literally was looking at what was actually going to be the biggest impact on my body at that stage. And that was cleaning the bathroom, for example, because of the tiles or whatnot. It was cleaning the oven, and it was cleaning the fridge, I think it was. And I literally was like, those 3 things are actually the most impact on my lungs at that stage. So I was really like, I really need someone else to do this. And that's all I actually wanted them to do was, hey, I know you're going to be here for 2 hours. This is exactly what I need. And it makes you feel so much better when you go into something that's clean, or you open up your fridge and it's like, being defrosted or whatever it is. That's exactly what I was trying to do last year. As I said, I tried to hire someone and then they canceled on me. So I haven't done it since, and I've never had one. So I am trying to figure it out. But yeah, this episode was really just to kind of reach out to everyone. It's not for those who can only afford it. This is for everyone, because you can pick and choose and be like, you know what? The biggest stress in my life right now, constantly for the last 6 months, has always been, what am I feeding my child? Maybe if you just look into it and go, hey, I found this company, and just for 1 week, they're going to do it, and I'm going to be able to buy it. Maybe you're not even hiring a company. Maybe you're just ordering from, or you're getting those children's meals even from Albert Heijn. I forgot the name of it, Mama Deli or something like that. Just try and make it easy for yourself. There's a million and one things that are going to be on your plate as a human being, as an adult, as a man or a woman, but equally now as a parent. And so I think those boxes, what's high priority, low priority, medium priority, what can you outsource? And then look for it and see, maybe, you'll be able to take care of it. And in doing so, you'll claim back that time, because your time is worth a lot more than the money you're going to be able to pay that person.
Yeah. And really don't feel guilty about doing these things. I learned this very early on from my parents, because both of them, they were self-employed. We were 4 children. They were working all the time. When we went to a daycare that was pretty hands-on, but my mom just a lot of times didn't want to do work at the daycare in her free time and on the weekends. So she said, all right, I'm not going to be able, or I don't want to come and organize the toys. I don't want to come and do all this, but I'm super happy to buy all the copy paper and buy all the crafting paper for this month. So she said, how can I contribute in this way that will help the whole community of this daycare, but I don't physically have to go there and do this work when on the Saturday where I can see all my 4 children at the same time for 2 hours, I'm much rather going to do that. And of course, she got a lot of backlash because they said, oh, you can't buy your way out of everything. She's like, yeah, but I am choosing my children and I'm choosing my family and I'm choosing my time that I have so little over this. And I don't need your judgment because your child is going to be crafting with the paper that I'm going to supply for the daycare. So I learned that very early on that you can contribute in many different ways where you don't physically have to be present, or equally same, you can also do it the other way around. If you're in an environment where everyone throws with money around them and buys all that stuff, does all that, then you can say, well, I am coming in for 1 hour and I'm going to clean the shit out, or I'm going to, I don't know, cook the soup for the group or whatever. Like you can always just do what's possible for you, and you can do what's possible for you. So it's either be that version of it or it's going to be that version of it. But that's the most important thing. See what is possible for your life, for your situation, and don't feel guilty about it, how it looks or how it plays out and how it shows up.
And don't judge yourself and don't judge others, because we're all contributing however we need to do it right there and then.
Yeah. And there is no such life as returning to pre-baby, pre-children, because that's not going to happen. Luckily, hopefully, never, because we want our children to be always in our lives. And just try to work with the new reality, the new you, the new life, the new normal, the new setup, the new family situation. And at the same time, don't be so hard on yourself. I guess that's the main message for this week. You are good enough. You are doing a good job. You need to be happy at the end of the day, and you need to make it work for you and your family.
And go easy on yourself.
Exactly. We'll leave it at that. That was our little chat of random thoughts that Eva and I had, and hopefully it's going to hit a string or hit a chord. I don't know what the saying is. Anyway, I hope it resonates with you. If you want to hear more from us, every Wednesday we're coming out with a new expert episode, or every Monday we're coming out with a chat like today, where Eva and I are chatting away about something that has popped up over the week that has sparked a conversation between us. If you want to make sure that you're not missing out on any episode, please make sure you subscribe or get the notification in your podcast player. That can be Spotify, that can be Apple Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts from. We're also on YouTube and, of course, Instagram, Damn Parenting Podcast. If you rate us with 5 dazzling, dangling stars, that would help us a lot to get seen by other parents who might find our information valuable and helpful. And with that, we hope you have an amazing week. You have an amazing rest of your day, and you're worthy. You're good enough. And we'll close it out with that. Bye-bye.